Hello, how are you? I'm a little tired. Sit down, please. I'd like to speak English today too, to improve my speaking skill. Let's get it started. Today, it is May 26th, 2023. It's on Friday, and it's cloudy outside. It was a little raining in the morning. How are you spending Friday? I used to feel happiest on Friday night because I was expecting for the day off, Saturday and Sunday. I used to feel happiest on Friday night because Saturday and Sunday were waiting for me. Imagining sleeping a lot until late in the morning. And I used to feel most depressed on Sunday's night, imagining the hard working on Monday. Have you decided who is going to inherit the assets from your parent? You have 3 siblings, right? Have you decided who is going to inherit the assets from your parent? And have you decided how much percentage of the asset will you get from your parent? And have you decided how much you will get the asset from your parent? I might have inherited the feature to say something after sneezing. I might have inherited a strange feature from my parent. The feature saying something after sneezing. House is inheritable from my parent. House and land will be inheritable from my parent. Inheritable. I read an article that 50% of our gene will be inheritable from our parent. Inheritable. Inheritable. Inheritable feature such as personality. Inheritable feature such as eye color. Inheritable disease. Some diseases are inheritable. Inheritable. Money is inheritable after the death of the person with decent procedures, but the procedures are very confusing. Inheritable. inheritable, 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 inheritable features such as eye color, height, and so on. Inheritable personality, inheritable character, inheritable feature, inheritable, inheritable disease from my parent. Inheritable talent, inheritable gene. How much percentage are the inheritable genes from our parents? How much do we inherit the genes from our parents? Inheritable, inheritable, inheritable. Some things such as house, land, money are inheritable from the dead with decent procedures. If the person claiming for is eligible for that, entitled to do that. If the person claiming is eligible for that, if the person claiming is entitled to do that. Saying something after sneezing might be inheritable feature from my parent. Saying something after sneezing might be inheritable feature from my parent. I feel stress in a group might be inheritable feature from my parent. Inheritable. Not feeling comfortable in a group might be the inheritable feature from my parent. Inheritable, inheritable, inheritable. Inheritance from my parent. Confusing procedure for the inheritance. Confusing, intricate, complex procedures for the inheritance. Inheritances from my parent, such as house, land, assets, and so on. Inheritance. Inheritance from my parent, inheritance from my grandparent, inheritance from my grandparent. Inheritance from our Mother Earth. Inheritance from my senior colleague. Inheritance from my senior colleague. Inheritance from previous CEO of the company. Inheritance. Are you an inheritor? Who can be the inheritor of the death of the person? Who can be the inheritor legally? Who can be the inheritor of the person legally? Who can be the inheritor of the person legally? Inheritor, inheritor or heir, inheritor. Have your parents decided who will be the inheritor of them? Have your parents decided who will be the inheritor of them? Have your parents decided who will be the inheritor of them? Have your parents decided who will be the inheritor of them? Inheritor, heir, inheritor, heir, inheritor of the assets, inheritor of the tremendous assets, inheritor of the tremendous, enormous assets, inheritor, heir of extraordinary amount of assets, extraordinary amount of assets, inheritor, inheritor, heir, inheritor. Of the rich, celebrity, billionaire, inheritor. Inheritor, heir, inheritor, heir, inheritor, heir, inheritor or heir. Which do you use more often? Inheritor or heir? Which is more often used? Inheritor or heir? Which word is more frequently used? Inheritor or heir? Have you visited some World Cultural Heritage Site? World Cultural Heritage Site. Have you ever visited World Natural Heritage Site? Have you ever visited World Natural Heritage Site? World Natural Heritage Site or World Cultural Heritage Sites? Heritage from artists in the past, from heritages from all the figures. Heritage, cultural heritage, natural heritage, heritage, heritage from artists in the past. Heritage, awesome heritages left by famous figures in the past. I owe my success at examination to my parents, support from others. Without support from my parents and other acquaintances, I could not have passed examination. The support from my parents and other acquaintances enabled me to pass examination. The internet enabled us to communicate people living in other countries so quickly, easily. The 5G will enable us to work drastically differently. The 5G and the development of technologies will enable us to do something which is thought to be impossible right now. The future technology will enable us to do something which is regarded as impossible now. I wish I could afford to buy cars like billionaires. I wish I could afford to buy anything without caring the prices. I wish I could afford buying anything without caring the prices like billionaires. I wish I could afford to buy anything without caring prices. I wish I could afford to stay in a sweet room without caring prices. I wish I could afford to stay in a luxury hotel without caring the prices. But actually, in fact, in practice, I cannot afford staying in a fancy hotel. I cannot afford to stay in a fancy hotel. I cannot afford to stay in a fancy hotel. I cannot afford to stay in a fancy hotel. I cannot afford staying in a fancy hotel. I cannot afford staying in a fancy hotel, luxury hotel, expensive hotel, exclusive hotel. I cannot afford staying in. I cannot afford staying in. I cannot afford staying in. I cannot afford staying in a luxury hotel. I cannot afford staying in a luxury hotel. I cannot afford to stay in a luxury hotel. I cannot afford staying in a luxury hotel. I cannot afford a car. I cannot afford a car. I cannot afford to buy a car. Generally speaking, I stay in affordable hotel, actually guest house or hostel. Affordable. Affordable price, please. I definitely stay in a hotel which is affordable. I definitely, absolutely stay in a hotel which is affordable. Affordable. Do you wait for the devices or products you wanna buy to be affordable until you buy them? Do you usually wait for the products you wanna buy to be discounted and affordable until you buy them? Affordable. Affordable devices. I want smartphones to be more affordable. I want smartphones to be more affordable. 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 Which do you give a priority to the most? The quality or price? When you buy something, which do you give priority to the most? Affordability or quality? Do you prioritize the quality more or affordability? If the quality is good but expensive, which do you prioritize? Do you buy the high quality product even if it is expensive? Or do you prioritize the price even if it is high quality? How much debt do you still have? How much debt is it be left in the company? Please guess how much debt it is left in the company. that, about that. The man accumulated his debt and tried to pay off the debt by investing his money on gambling, ended up stacking up more debts. Debt. About that. Debt. Debt. About that. About that. About that. With a lot of bad debt, the bank might go bankruptcy. Might go bankrupt. Might go bankrupt. Might go to bankruptcy. With a lot of bad debts, the bank might go bankrupt. That. About that. About that. About that might be rescued by the government. About that. A lot of bad debts. About that. About that. About that. Discussing about that. Discussing about that. Resolving both bad debt and recession. Debtor and creditor. Debtor and creditor. The reverse of the word debtor is creditor. Do you know the reverse word of debtor in English? Creditor. The reverse meaning of the word debtor is creditor. Debtor and creditor. The relationship between the debtor and creditor. I learned in economic class that the amount of the debt surpasses a certain amount, the status of the debtor can be stronger than that of creditor. I learned in the economic class that the amount of debt surpasses a certain amount, the status of the debtor can be stronger than of creditor. Debtor. Debtor and creditor. Debtor. 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 Creditor. Debtor. 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 The debtor tried to pay off the debts by investing his money on gambling, ended up stacking up more debts. Debtor. Debtor. Are you also a debtor? Are you also a debtor? Debtor and a creditor. Thinking mechanism of the debtor. There might be some things in common among the debtors. There might be something in common in debtors. Debtor. Debtor. The credit card used by the debtor was stopped for failing to pay off what he bought on the online shopping. The credit card of the debtor was suspended for failing to pay off what he had bought. A verbal notification. It can be done. The contract can be done by verbal notification, but there are some exceptions. The contract can be done by verbal notification with some exceptions. Verbal abuse should be done. Verbal abuse is not allowed. Verbal abuse can be as strong as weapon. Verbal skill. Verbal explanation. Which is easier to understand for you? Verbal or documentary explanations? Which is more easier to understand for you? Verbal explanation or documentary explanation? Which is more easier to understand for you? Verbal or documentary explanation? Maybe documentary. Verbal communication. Verbal test. Verbal skill. Verbal nuance. Verbal skill. Verbal development of the baby. Verbal development of baby. How soon do the babies learn to speak? I'd like to know the speed of verbal development of baby. How soon can babies start to speak? I'd like to know the verbal development of babies. Verbal abuse can be as strong as weapons. Verbal abuse cannot be allowed. Can I take back the verbal abuse? Verbal abuse cannot be allowed. Please do not deliver a verbal abuse. Please not make an verbal abuse. Please do not make an verbal abuse. Please do not emit verbal abuse. Please do not give off verbal abuse. Please do not make a verbal abuse. Verbal abuse. Verbal abuse can be as strong as weapon, or stronger. Enough to make people depressed so much, or irritated. I got information by verbal notification from the correspondent dispatched in the venue as seen. I got information with the verbal notification from the correspondent dispatched to the scene. Verbal notification. Verbal notification. Verbal notification. I got the information from the correspondent by verbal notification. Verbal notification. Verbal notification. Verbal notification. Verbal notification. Verbal notification. I cannot verbalize what I felt at the summit of Mount Fuji. It's beyond the description. It's beyond the description. So I'd like to see how beautiful it is. How beautiful the scene from the summit of the Mount Fuji is. I cannot verbalize what I felt at the top of the mountain, Mount Fuji. It's beyond description. Stunning, majestic, very beautiful. Verbalize. I'm not good at commenting a word, so it took some time for me to verbalize what I thought at the interview. I'm not good at verbalizing what I felt to something. Are you good at verbalizing something you saw or you listened to? Verbalize, verbalize, verbalize. Verbalize, verbalize. I'd like to express the things which cannot be verbalized. I'd like to express the things with music which cannot be verbalized. Verbalize, 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 verbalize. Verbalizing the universe might not be impossible. Verbalizing the beauty of the scene from top of the Mount Fuji is not possible. It's out of the question. Verbalize. 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 If I try to verbalize the situation of the party, I would say chaos. Verbalism of what I felt in the party is difficult, but if I have to say the situation by one word, I would say chaos. Vandalism, barbarism, barbarism. Verbalism of what I felt in the theater. Verbalism of what I felt in the theater. Verbalism, verbalism. The extreme nervousness made the verbalism of what I felt difficult. The extreme nervousness made the verbalism difficult. The extreme nervousness and out of the breath soon after the running made the verbalism difficult. Verbalism. Extreme nervousness made the verbalism difficult. Extreme nervousness made the verbalism difficult. Verbalism. 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 Extreme nervousness at the interview made the verbalism of what I felt difficult. Extreme nervousness from the pressure from audiences made the verbalism of what I felt difficult. Extreme nervousness in front of the public made the verbalism difficult. Extreme nervousness in front of the audiences made the verbalism difficult. Verbalism, verbalism, verbalism. Verbalism, verbalism, verbalism. The special contract needs to be done with paper, with document, not verbally. If it is contracted verbally, it is not valid. Only the contract made by documents are valid. So please bear that in mind. So please keep that in mind. Verbally, verbally, verbally. I told the extension of my stay to the owner of the hotel verbally. I told the extension of my stay verbally. I told the extension of my stay at the hotel verbally. 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 I told the extension of my stay at the hotel verbally. I told the extension of my stay at the hotel verbally. Contract. I rejected many contracts from many companies. I turned down many contracts from companies. If the transportation and accommodation fees are free, I will contract the offer. I will contract you. I will contract the offer. I will contract the supplier. I will contract with the retailer. With a little bit more improvement in the job offer, I will contract you. I will contract you. I will contract the company. If the transportation and accommodation fees had been free, I would have contracted the company, travel agency, travel agent, travel company. If the public transportation and accommodation fee had been free, I would have contracted the travel company. I cannot afford to pay accommodation and transportation fee for the work. If the public transportation and accommodation fee had been free, I would have contracted the travel agency, travel company. Contract, 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 contract. The company A is hoping to contract the company B in terms of the trade. The company A is hoping to contract the company B with the terms and conditions. Marriage can be done with mutual understanding. The project was proceeded without mutual understanding, which was the reason why the project was stopped. The project was proceeded without mutual understanding, which caused the project to be suspended. The couple chose to get divorced, which they thought would be better mutually. The couple chose to get divorced, which they thought would be better mutually. The couple chose to get divorced, which they thought would be better for each other mutually. They bowed deeply mutually before they say goodbye. Before they say goodbye. I'd like to know if the local tour guide accompanies the guest to the airport. or only the guests take the flight to the airport? I'd like to know if the local tour guide accompanies the guest to the airport, taking the flight together, or only the guests take the flight to the airport. Please accompany the sending ticket on the envelope. Please accompany the envelope so that we can send it back after getting your document. Okay? In order to get the panel discount, group discount, a tour leader who can speak Japanese should be accompanied by the foreign tourists. In order to get discount, group discount, a leader or teacher leading the students should be accompanied. In order to get the group discount, the students need to be accompanied by the leader, such as teacher. Some of the guests will accompany us at other stations, at other pickup points. All of the cuisines served in this restaurant are accompanied by pickles and miso soup, which is my favorite. Good. All of the menus served in this restaurant accompany miso soup and pickles. I'd like to ask if the local tour guide will accompany the guest to the airport taking a flight, or they will be apart at the local airport before the departure. In the tour, the guide will accompany the guest at the hotel, not from the airport. What I like about the restaurant is that all of the menus served in the restaurant come with pickles and miso soup. I'd like to accompany a couple of more presents in the box to make my acquaintances happier. Accommodation, local tour guide, and meals are accompanied by the package tour. Does the tour guide accompany the guest from the airport? Does the tour guide accompany the guest from the airport? Does the tour guide accompany the guest from the airport or hotel? Where does the tour guide accompany the guest? Where does the tour guide accompany the guest? All of the menus served in this restaurant are accompanied by pickles and miso soup, which is my favorite, which is one of the reasons why I often eat lunch there. Some of the guests will be accompanied by us at some other meeting points. After passing the last meeting point, we will head for the first destination. Have you ever sung to the accompaniment of pianos playing? Which is different from singing with a karaoke system, which is a little different or bigger different from singing with instrumental. Have you ever sung with the accompaniment of band sound? Have you ever sung with to the accompaniment of band sound, not instrumental? Have you ever sung with to the accompaniment of instrumental? Have you ever sung to the accompaniment of band sound or piano playing? I sometimes listen to a musician accompanying on the street. I sometimes listen to a musician accompanying on the street. I sometimes come across a musician accompanying on the street, which is very appealing to me. And do you know the name of the song piece accompanied by the musician on the street? I sometimes run into a musician accompanying on the street. I sometimes come across a musician accompanying on the street. Pickles and miso soup are the accompaniments to the menu served in the restaurant. What are the accompaniments to the menu? Pickles and miso soup. And you can refill the rice as many times as you want. What are the accompaniments to the menu? Rice, pickles, miso soup, and the main dish you can order. You can choose from the from among many choices. I see. There were numerous accompaniments to the gifts in the box. There were numerous accompaniments in the gift box, which even made me confused. More than happiness, beyond happiness. Accompaniment. Difficulties, predicaments, hardships are the accompaniments to our lives. We cannot avoid them. It is inevitable. Accompaniment, predicaments, difficulties, hardships are accompaniments to our life, which cannot be avoidable. Accompaniment. Difficulties are accompaniments to our life. Difficulties are accompaniments to our life. Difficulties are accompaniment to our life. Accompaniment. Difficulties are accompaniments to our life. Both good and bad days are accompaniments to our life. Accommodation, tour guide, and meals are accompaniments to the tour. Only transportation fees are the accompaniment to the tour, so you have to pay for the other things. Accompaniment. Some of the accompaniments to the menu were, as long as I remember, were miso soup, rice, sashimi, the raw fish, and something thinly sliced white radish, daikon, and plum, umeboshi. And there were some other meals, but I cannot remember. Accompaniment. What are the accompaniments to the set? Flashlight, coffee set, coffee maker, and green tea leaves. I see, very random. Hardships are accompaniments to our life. If you fail to submit documents, if you fail to submit the documents by deadline, you will have to have the same year of the university again. An official document is stored in the archive. The official documents are stored in the official archives. Official document, an official document such as the one to show where I was born, and so on. We can get such official documents at City Hall. An official document. The official document that I was born in the city, and my relationship with my parents, and so on. The paper documents that I was born in the city between the parents. And there were also the relationships written in the paper. among my parents and their parents. It's better to document what we do every day, so that we can look back on the days easily when we search for old documents and so on. Do you document what you have done every day? Do you document what you do every day? According to the old leaflet, the tour took place 30 years ago. The most powerful typhoon might be documented this year because the strength of typhoon has been stronger and stronger due to the climate change, weather variation, and so on. So I'm afraid bigger and bigger typhoon might be documented. I'm afraid that bigger typhoons are documented every summer. I'm afraid that bigger typhoons are documented every summer. I try to document what I eat every day recently so that I can look back on the days someday at some point in my life. I recently tried to make a diary, take a diary, document what I eat every day. I recently tried to document what I eat every day so that I can look back on those days at some point in my life. Document. The year documented the best season for the harvest of the wine grape. The year documented the best year season environment for the harvest of the rice. The documents document that the typhoon struck the area on the date in the year. The pictures taken by the citizens document that the natural disaster destroyed the town drastically, thoroughly. The pictures taken by the citizens during the natural disaster, after the natural disaster, document how devastating it was. The pictures taken by the citizens and offered from the citizens document how devastating the typhoon was. The pictures presented by the citizens document how devastating, lethal, fatal it was. My attorney told me that winning the lawsuit would be difficult unless decisive documentary evidence emerged. My lawyer told me that winning the lawsuit would be very difficult unless decisive documentary evidence emerged. Documentary contract. The special contract needs to be made by documents, not verbal. Verbalism. Documentary evidence. Documentary evidence. Another documentary evidence was found from the scene where the incident happened. More documentary evidences were found from the scene where the incident happened. Documentary work. Documentary task. More and more documentary tasks will be replaced by AI. More and more paperwork, documentary work will be replaced by AI, robots, and so on. Documentary procedure. A confusing documentary procedure often annoys me, irritates me. Annoys, irritates, confuses me. Confusing documentary procedures always makes me frustrated, irritated, confused, and so on. Documentary procedures always makes me frustrated, irritated, confused. Confusing documentary procedures always confuses me, irritates me, frustrates me, annoys me. Documentary procedure, documentary evidence, documentary evidence, documentary evidence, documentary evidence, documentation or documentary evidence, documentation. The prosecutors are searching for documentation from the scene where the incident happened. Documentation. Decisive documentation to prove that the defendant was responsible for committing the crime. Documentation. Decisive documentation enough to find the defendant guilty. Decisive documentation enough to regard the defendant as the criminal. Documentation. Decisive documentation enough to prove that the defendant, the accused, was involved in the fraudulent scamming. Documentation to prove that the defendant was involved in the scamming. Documentation to prove that the defendant was involved in the scamming, fraudulent scheme. Documentation documentation, documentation, documentation. The documentation presented by the plaintiff led to the man found guilty. The decisive documentation presented by the plaintiff led to the accused found guilty. Documentation, documentation. I'd like to terminate a heap of tasks by Friday so that I can have wonderful weekends. I'd like to put an end to a heap of tasks. I'd like to bring to an end. I'd like to bring the heap of tasks to an end. When can you bring the heap of tasks to an end? When can you put an end to a pile of tasks? Next year. Terminate. Terminate. Some projects can be terminated for want of budgets, for lack of budgets. What is your ultimate goal of your life? My ultimate goal of my life is to get a Grammy Award and to be admitted by people from all over the world. I see. It is a fantastic goal, dream. I hope you can achieve it. Thank you. Ultimate battle between strongest school A versus strongest school B. Ultimate version of the product. Ultimate version of ukiyo-e. Ultimate version. Ultimate status. Ultimate transformation of Super Saiyan. Ultimate version of the Super Saiyan. Ultimate. 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 Ultimate version of the transformation. Ultimate purpose. Ultimate target. Ultimate target for the career. Ultimate target of the career. My ultimate target of getting the Grammy Award. Ultimate target to obtain, to win the Grammy Award. Ultimate target for the life, for your life. Ultimate target of the ultimate goal of the life. Ultimate form of music. What do you guess will be the ultimate form of music? What do you predict will be the ultimate form of music? What will be the ultimate form of music? Ultimate form of music. Ultimate form of art. What is art? What do you think will be the ultimate form of art? Music. Ultimate form of music. Ultimate form of entertainment. What do you guess will be the ultimate form of entertainment? Ultimate goal of your life. What do you think will be the ultimate form of music or entertainment? What do you think will be the ultimate form of art? Ultimate of career, ultimate of music, ultimate of his works. This painting expresses the ultimate of his works. This painting expresses the ultimate of his works. Everything, every good thing in him are brought out in the painting. Ultimate of the art, ultimate of his works. What do you think is, what do you think will be the ultimate work of him? What do you think, which do you think will be the ultimate work of him? Which do you think will be the ultimate work of him? Ultimate. Ultimate. Ultimate of high quality sound. Ultimate of high quality sound. Ultimate of the technique. Ultimate of the technique. Ultimate of the technique. Ultimate of the technique. Ultimate. Ultimate of the technique. Ultimate. Ultimate. Ultimate of the technique at playing the piano. He will demonstrate the ultimate of the technique of playing the piano. Ultimate. Ultimate of happiness might be during the sleep. Sleeping might be the ultimate of happiness for human beings or creatures. I don't know. Sleeping might be the ultimate happiness for creatures. I'm not sure. Ultimate. Ultimate of happiness. Ultimate of entertainment. Ultimate of his works. Mount Fuji is the highest mountain in Japan. So, in this way, Mount Fuji is the ultimate in regarding the height. Ultimate. The ultimate of my life hasn't been reached yet. Are you looking forward to the ultimate of your life? I mean, your career. Getting the Grammy Award will be the ultimate of my life. One of my friends decided to take over his family business ultimately. Ultimately. The factory will be turned into a sightseeing spot, ultimately. The vacant lot was turned into a parking lot, ultimately. Ultimately, the vacant lot will be turned into a parking lot for the company located next. If you can accept the arbitration idea from the third-party person, everything will be done. It depends on you, because your opponent is accepting. So it all depends on you. It hinges on you. It all up to you. It all up to you. Arbitration. Arbitration. When the two students started to fight, a teacher weighed in as arbitration. When the two members in the group started to have a quarrel, the leader weighed in, intervened in as arbitration. 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 Accept arbitration or not. Whether or not you accept the arbitration or not depends on you. Arbitration. Arbitration idea. Arbitration. Idea created by the arbitration. The idea, the resolution made by the arbitration. If it had not been the arbitration by you and your friends, things would have been worse. Things would have been worse. Had it not been for your arbitration, the things would have been worse. If it had not been for the arbitration from you and your friends, I would be in a worse situation now. I would be in a worse situation. I would be in a worse situation now. I don't try to obtain, accomplish, achieve unanimous approval from all of the people, participants. Unanimous agreement. I don't need to get unanimous approval from the members. I just need to get more than half votes, more than half votes from the members in the community in order to pass my ideas into law. Unanimous. Unanimous approval is difficult to be reached. Unanimous approval will be difficult to be reached. Unanimous approval will be difficult to be reached. Unanimous approval is difficult to be reached, and I don't try to get unanimous approval. It is almost impossible. When the chairman of the parliament asked if the politician should be left out of the member for the corruption, all of other politicians agreed unanimously. I didn't want to tell the reason why I stopped appearing in front of the audiences. But now the time I confess came. The time that I confess came. The time when I confess had just come. The time when I confess had just come. I couldn't resist the tension from the audiences. I couldn't withstand the tension from the pressure, coming from the pressure, expectation from the fans and so on. The tension, high tension in the concert hall. I couldn't put up with the high tension. I couldn't put up with, endure, bear, stand the tension. I couldn't endure the tension in the concert hall, and I couldn't play the piece at all as I practiced at home. My body was trembling, and I made many mistakes, and I determined myself not to perform in front of people again. This is the reason. Whenever I look back on those days, playing the musical instrument in front of the people in the concert hall, I get depressed. So, which is the perfect reason made me not wanna perform in front of people again. But I still enjoy playing the musical instrument alone. I prefer to play the musical instrument relaxedly, with relaxed mind at home, drinking coffee and so on. Tension. I cannot perform well. Maybe it can be said to other people though. I cannot perform well under extreme tension. Under extreme tension. Under extreme tension. But I really envy those who can perform well or better under extreme tension. I really envy those who can perform better under extreme tension. 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 I cannot stand the tension. I cannot withstand the tension coming from audiences, coming from the obligation to meet everyone's expectations and so on. Tension. Although I was not the leading role in the theater, I felt highest tension on the stage. Although I was the audience in the hall, I felt much tension from the theater, at the theater. Although I was not the performer on the theater, I felt much tension. Although I was not the performer at the theater, I felt tension. I always try to escape from tension. Do you think do you evaluate and assess the importance of the facilitator in the meeting room to as an icebreaker to break the high tension and so on? Sometimes the meeting room is surrounded by high tension, but the facilitator will alleviate that. I cannot perform well with a tense condition. Past, present, and future tense. future perfect tense. Tense. Tense atmosphere. Everyone wants to escape from tense atmosphere. Or can you enjoy the tense atmosphere? I really envy those who can perform well or better in the tense environment. Tense. Do you know the tips for getting over tense environment? Do you know the tips for getting through tense environment? The tablet medicine will work, but it is tense for the short time. The effect of the medicine, the tablet medicine, is tense but brief. My tense feeling couldn't be hidden because it was obvious on my face. My tense feeling couldn't be hidden because it was obvious, clear-cut, clear, evident on my face. I looked pale. Tense. Tense. Performing in front of people tenses me so much. This is why I am determined not to perform in front of people. If you want to make yourself understood, if you want to transmit your voice to the other end of the string phone, you have to strain the string enough. In order to transmit your voice to the opponent to the other end of the string phone, you have to strain the string attached to the paper cup. I usually strain my body because I keep doing until I'm stopped. I usually do too much until someone stops me, straining some parts of body. I usually keep doing until I break my health or until someone tells me to stop, ending up straining some parts of my body. My strained teeth is being cured little by little. My strained back is being cured little by little thanks to the painkiller patches. If the participant is pushed out of the ring or any part of the body other than the soul touches the ground, he loses. I'm almost sure I am the sole man in the world in every possible way. I am a sole person in every possible way. There used to be a sole convenience store in the middle of the mountain, but it was closed due to little usage. I won't stop going out solely because it is raining. I won't stop going to the beach solely because it is cold. Solely. I sometimes go traveling solely on my own. I sometimes go traveling solely, which is very comfortable because I don't have to match others. Flying as beautifully as birds right now is out of the question. Running as fast as the car is out of the question as of now. Some people are always skeptical about anything, everything. Trying to be skeptical of common sense can be important. Being skeptical about common sense is very important to achieve breakthrough because breakthroughs are usually, I think, comes from crazy ideas. Being skeptical about common sense might be the key to achieving breakthroughs. you will no doubt be successful at the business because I've seen your performance hardworking since you were very small. So I'm almost certain that you will no doubt be successful. You will succeed in the business. The presented reasoning that the suspect was moving from the criminal place to other was presented by the expert. the reasoning that the car would be flying in 2015 was beside the point. We sometimes enter the restaurant with not reasonably priced. We can check if the prices of the menus are reasonably priced in front of the shop restaurant to some extent. Submitting the prescription from the doctor is a reasonable reason why you were late for school or workplace, because you were sick or you had a health problem. Buying a bulk of food at once so that I can reduce the number of shoppings. It's reasonable. Having a bulk shopping at once in order to reduce the number of shoppings is reasonable. I usually buy a good deal of food at once. I usually buy a great deal of food at once so as to reduce the number of shoppings. Okay, I will finish speaking here. Thank you for watching. See you next time. See you!